Odysseus was in the boat with the disciples, and there was the wind blowing in the storm. And the same kind of pattern happens in Mark. The beheading of John the Baptist, a story after the demoniac that Jesus saw when he landed on the shore, parallels the Cyclops story. And you'd think, yeah, okay, maybe once in a while, different authors have similar styles, right? Mm-hmm. You'd think, okay, some of this could be coincidence. But when you see story after story after story, using some of the same words and the same sequences with slightly changed names and things to make it your own, you can see that the author of the Gospel of Mark was patterning a lot of his story on Homer. Everybody did that. The Romans did that. Mm-hmm. When Virgil wrote his Aeneid, he wasn't claiming to write new literature. Virgil in Latin was claiming to be improving on Homer. Anybody who was educated knew Homer. So when you read the Aeneid, you'll see that the Romans were trying to say, hey, we can do just as good or maybe better than the Greeks in writing our own stories too. So whoever wrote the Gospel of Mark was just playing that same kind of a game. He was something of a literary genius when you think about it, but it's a work of fiction. It's a historical fiction. We should give credit where credit is due. He did quite a job, but as you were saying, you can see fingerprints of myth in the actual literary construction of the New Testament. Mm-hmm. But you don't hear that stuff from the pulpit. I never preached that stuff. I thought the New Testament was like a brand new newspaper account of some new story that had never happened before in the world. It just came dropped like it was birthed by the stork. It didn't have any parents. We now know that Christianity had parentage. At least Judaism was one of the parents. But Judaism had parents. Judaism came out of, had some Greek influence and some Persian influence. The whole idea of a Satan was absent from Judaism until after they were taken captive into Babylon and bumped into the Persian idea. And then suddenly you start seeing a Satan, and Christianity inherited that. So, what's his name? Gregory, not Gregory Paul. I'll find his name. He wrote the book River of God. He shows that Christianity can be seen to have evolved similar to how languages or how species evolved. You can look back at ancestors, you look back at their ancestors, you can see this flowing of Greg Riley. You can see that Christianity then inherited a lot of these things from previous ancestors, which is a lot of evidence toward the claim that the Jesus story was a complete myth. Although you can't disprove the historical existence of Jesus. I don't know if you can disprove the historical existence of anyone. Even if you found an author who said, hey, I made this whole thing up, that still wouldn't disprove it. But it sure makes it very, very, very unlikely that Jesus really did exist. Let's give the likelihood of a historical Jesus of 5%, okay? Or maybe 10. But that's still not enough to round it off to saying with confidence that Jesus of history existed.
Well, I think that most Christians will admit that they do not do any research. They basically believe what they've been taught, and they have confirmation bias. They go to church, and it's confirmed that the church tells them the stories of the Gospels, and they accept it as truth. They don't actually do any type of research, and you obviously, being a preacher for 17 years, have done the research, and that's one reason why you think that the Jesus myth is fiction.
Yeah.
Is legend.
Yeah, the Jesus story is fiction. There is some truth in it, obviously. But you're right. Most people in the pews have not done it. They're lazy. Most people sitting in church pews are lazy. They think, well, all the work's been done by the seminarians and the theologians and the apologists, so who am I to figure it all out? In fact, it'd be dangerous if I tried to figure it out because I'm not trained like they are. So let's just take their word for it. Besides, it confirms what they want to believe, and that's not why they're going to church anyway. They're not going to church for intellectual, historical truth. They're going to worship. They're going for community. They're going for other reasons.
Well, plus it wasn't until about 120, 150 years ago or so that we couldn't even read the Bible because the Bible was forbidden for the common folk, the poor folk, to read it.
Well, in Catholic Church, yeah.
Yes, Catholic.
Yeah, in the Roman Catholic.
So right now I need to conclude it because we're out of time. We're out of time, so I want to thank Dan Barker very much for showing up here. I hope you enjoyed this very interesting episode of the Orange County Atheist Show. Thank you, Dan.
Thanks.
Are you a skeptic or an atheist? Backyard Skeptics is a group which meets in Villa Park, California, which is next to Orange, in Orange County, usually on the fourth Wednesday or Thursday of each month. We are a group of skeptics with a heavy atheist bent. If you don't believe in any supernatural events or paranormal ability, this group is for you. Our meetings are where you can freely talk about your skepticism and non-belief. Only one person talks at a time so everyone can hear, unlike a noisy restaurant. And we usually have a topic for each meeting. Our goal is to support the atheistic, agnostic, skeptic, and humanist communities with local meetings, potluck parties, and other events. And also to spread the word that skeptics and non-believers are good and moral people, and we cherish humanistic values over any supernatural superstitions. We encourage and educate others to take a look at their worldview with critical thinking skills. Here's what people say about Backyard Skeptics. I wanted to meet like-minded people, yet challenging my belief and thoughts. I thought I was alone in my beliefs. I now know that I am not. I have a lot more to learn and discover. I am tired of being judged as a godless person, as if that were a bad thing, and I were evil. Another person, Brad, says, I have attended some of your events in the past and found them insightful. I am a humanist who still keeps ties to my Jewish culture without the Bible BS through humanistic Jewish congregations. After attending a Backyard Skeptics meeting, Anne says, this was a highly informative presentation, which helped me to understand the physical explanations of why so many people hold on to unreasonable ideas. The conversations before and after the presentation were also very stimulating. I enjoyed everything. So if you're a skeptic, humanist, atheist, rationalist, or agnostic, join our meetup group at meetup.com/backyardskeptics. You can also call our phone number 714-998-8682 or email us at info@backyardskeptics.com.